As the sun sets on another day of shifting headlines and sharp turns, we bring you the stories shaping our world. In a world where truth often battles noise, we bring you clarity, context, and connection.
From breaking development at home and around the globe to update on politics, health, business, sports, and everything in between. This is where you are supposed to be, hearing the happenings, coding the highlights, honing in on the headlines that hit home. I am Brenda Kenoto.
And I, Cynthia Nyambura. And with a quote that says, to be persuasive, we must be believable. To be believable, we must be credible. To be credible, we must be truthful.
With that in mind, you can send us your views on our social media handles, Facebook,
at Kings TV,
YouTube,
Kings Fraternity.
But first, let's dive into tonight's top stories.
Kenya's economy deception, unmasking the illusion of growth.
Ruto's office spends 2.2 million per day on printing services.
Appeal to the national government, in particular the National Treasury.
Government reject Treasury push for the new e-procurement system.
Scandal after scandal and attempts to sell off Kenya's crucial infrastructure on the cheap are the modus operandi.
Ghost paradise scandals.
We open our bulletin with an eye-opening report on the state of Kenyan economy and the growth concern over what many are calling economic deception. Despite official statements boasting of steady growth and improved economy indicators, many Kenya are still gripping with soaring inflation and rising unemployment.
That's right. Experts say that while government reports highlight positive GDP growth, this figure often masks the harsh realities on the ground, where families struggle to afford basic necessities. Beatrice Awo unpacks the story.
For 11 minutes during the launch of the year 2026-2027 budget preparation process last week, Mbadi defended the county's economic standing, or perhaps Kenya Kwanza version of it, particularly the cost of living.
Contextualize our budget making process within the global developments. So in this slide, we are indicating that global economy has averaged about 3.5% in the last 3 years.
In 2022, we had an unimaginable inflation of 9.6%, which has come down to 4.1%. One of the indicators highlighted was the 4.9% GDP growth in the first quarter of this year, compared with 4.7% in the same period last year. Treasury projects overall growth of 5.3% this year. As glossy as the numbers sound, a major challenge for President William Ruto's administration has been translating them into real-life impact, where most Kenyans struggle daily to make ends meet. The affordable housing levy at 1.5% of gross income, the social health insurance shift at 2.75%, and higher contributions to the National Social Security Fund (NSSF) are among the taxes introduced under Ruto's watch.
But we have picked up, and that is why on the slide that you see there on the right side, we are indicating that economic growth was 4.9 in the first quarter of 2025. And you can see that all the sectors grew. All the sectors grew, with the fastest sector being agriculture at 6%.
This is in addition to the withdrawal of the fuel, which pushed palm's prices beyond the 200 shillings mark, even though the government officials argue that the prices have since dropped to about 185 shillings in Nairobi, whereas officials' data point a mixed picture. For example, 1 kg of sugar that retailed at 217 shillings in November 2023 dropped to 164 shillings in July 2024 before rising back to 186 shillings. Petrol, which had reached 217 shillings a litre, dropped to 189 shillings. It now goes for 185 shillings in Nairobi. A kilo of maize flour, meanwhile, has risen to 75 shillings from 64 shillings in July 2024, while Irish potatoes are now 123 shillings a kilo, up from 103 in November 2023. On the other side, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has argued otherwise. Speaking recently in a church service, he insisted that as strong as shilling improves, that economy is improving and that many Kenyans can afford basic commodities. Similarly to Mbadi, during the budget launch, he criticized doubts of the government and narratives.
Safari ambayo imebaki katika hii miaka mitatu imebaki ni safari sasa, kwa sababu hakuna ile general economic imbalances or instability ya kufanya bidii ili tuweke pesa katika mifuko ya wananchi.
Whereas the government figures point to a growing economy, the size of ugali at Kenyans' home is getting smaller. For Kenyans, the cost of living is getting worse each single day as their pocket shrinks. Reporting Kings TV, my name is Beatrice Awor.
The country is facing a deepening economic crisis that is now hitting two of the most critical sectors, education and health. Thousands of students are being sent home as learning institutions struggle to keep the doors open.
In the health sector, the situation is equally dire. Several public hospitals have closed wards, suspend surgeries, and in extreme cases shut down completely due to lack of essential supplies and unpaid staff salaries. Christine Nyokabi reports.
Public services in Kenya are facing serious problems. Many students are being sent home because schools are not getting money on time. Hospitals are closing and patients are left without care. At the same time, billions of shillings meant for health and education cannot be accounted for. The government promised reforms and better service delivery, but the results are worrying. Projects with big announcements, yet they stall and disappear without explanation. This situation has created anger and mistrust across the country. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has criticized the government anti-corruption campaign, terming it ineffective. Kalonzo says President William Ruto's administration has been scorched by scandal after scandal, turning the country into a fortress of corruption.
Scandal after scandal and attempts to sell off Kenya's crucial infrastructure on the cheap are the modus operandi of this disgraced regime. Education, for example, is in shambles from primary through to the university.
The Wiper leader further linked corruption to the government's move to take over management of Karura after the Friends of Karura management team resisted alleged illegal plans to grab its land for a road project.
Stop the nonsense. They want to build a road through Karura. Please stop Karura. Don't deal with Karura Forest. There's a clear agreement between the Forest Association and KFS. We cannot have this country go backward.
Is that through its coalition with other opposition parties, President Ruto will be removed from office in 2027 and individuals will be held accountable. He went on to highlight on how the corruption has crippled the health center, even as the government maintains it is committed in fighting grafts. And the question remains, will this government be responsible and fair? With just 2 years remaining, will it be a season of change or a descent of worse? Wamboi Nyokabi, Kings TV.
In the education sector, secondary schools head across Kenya are sounding the alarm of a looming crisis in public education. With government capitation funds delay for yet another term, many schools are on the brink of shutting down, threatening the academic future of thousands of students.
2 weeks into the third term, school administrators say they are yet to receive the promised funds for free basic education. David Jenga has more.
Secondary schools heads have raised concern over potential disruption of learning due to delays in capitation funds. They warn that many schools are struggling to operate smoothly, with essential services being affected as the financial strain worsens.
Wakati huu walimu wakuu wengi wako na shida sana hata kukaa shuleni. Baadhi ya walimu wakuu hata wanajificha kwa sababu suppliers wanawasumbua. Wakikaa shuleni bila hizo fedha kufika ni vigumu sana. Simu ni nyingi sana. Wengi wetu, baadhi yetu tunabadilisha hata simu, namba ya simu kwa sababu tunasumbuliwa sana na suppliers.
2 weeks after schools reopen for the third term, students are already in class, but funding for free basic education has not yet reached schools. Account schools heads say that the delay is affecting day-to-day operation, including feeding programs and the purchases of learning materials.
Kuna bidhaa ambazo tunastahili tununue ili tutumie katika masomo for practical subjects. Hatuwezi tukanunua bila hizo fedha. Na baadhi ya suppliers ni wagumu sana kwa sababu shule nyingi ziko na madeni.
According to the funding policies, the national government is expected to release 50% of the fund to school for the first term, 30% for the second term, and 20% for the third term. Head teachers says the disbursement had been irregular, incomplete, and unreliable. The delay in releasing the fund is affecting the smooth delivery of education, especially during this crucial third term when learners are preparing for national exam and assessment.
Last term, what was given to schools was only 15%, and 15% remained. We are calling upon the government to make sure that the arrears that have been there, because in every year arrears are there, the government is not paying food.
Many schools are now struggling with unpaid bills, with head teachers saying the institution are sinking deeper into debt due to a lack of government support on time. The Kenyan Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers and Schools Head Association are urging the government to fulfill its promises on timely capitation disbursement to school. They also want clarity and support on school fees policies, saying current directives are creating confusion, especially when parents delay or fail to pay fees, yet schools still lack government funding.
School principals have complained about increasing debt and delayed government funding, while schools struggling due to lack of basic supplies and failure to pay suppliers. Jenga Ndongo, Nakuru County.
A startling new report from the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, has exposed lavish spending by the Executive Office of the President. The figures have raised eyebrows, especially considering the President's early promise of outrest.
The printing budget reportedly covered everything from policy papers, executive orders to performance contract, pledge statement, proclamation, and even invitation card for State House events. Pius Karaoke uncovers the story.
On Tuesday, 2nd of September, a new report by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, has revealed that President William Ruto's executive office spent an average of 2.2 million per day on printing services during 2024-2025 financial year, amounting to 817 million annually. The expenditure, flagged as excessive, covered materials for executive orders, policy documents, performance contracts, press briefings, proclamations, and high-end invitations for State House events. Officials cited an increase in high-profile meetings and the use of premium quality paper as contributing factors. This revelation comes amid public calls for austerity and accountability, especially following the withdrawal of controversial Finance Bill 2024 after the nationwide Gen Z-led protest. In addition to printing, the report disclosed that Ruto's office spent 1 billion on advisory services, including 450 on counter-terrorism, 150 on strategic policy, 97 million on economic and social affairs, 62 million on Kenya-South Sudan relations, and 46 million on power of mercy advisory. The office also spent 1.17 billion on refurbishing State House Nairobi, with renovations now 66% complete. Despite earlier pledges to cut wasteful spending, the executive office's budgetary footprint has raised serious questions about fiscal discipline and public trust.
From the executive orders to glossy invitations, they spend average 2.2 million, while millions of Kenyans struggle with hospital bills, school fees and economy. Where is the austerity? Where is the accountability? Pius Kariuki, Kings TV, Nairobi.
A political tug of war is unfolding in Nairobi County as attempt of impeaching Governor Johnson Sakaja face residents of two of Kenya's most powerful political figures.
The Nairobi County Assembly had been moving swiftly with impeachment proceeding against the governors, but in a surprising twist, the impeachment motion hit a major roadblock. Sources close to a president revealed that President William Ruto personally stepped in, urging MCs to reconsider the move. Nyambura Nguro investigate the claims.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, once celebrated as the cool kid of politics after finding himself on the brink of political collapse, but has escaped an impeachment storm. On September 1st, 2025, Nairobi MCAs, led by Kileleshwa MCA Robert Alai, officially launched a push to impeach Governor Sakaja.
We bring back the blame where it's supposed to be, which is with the Governor of Nairobi, Arthur Johnson Sakaja. I think even if you...
They cited over 20 charges ranging from mismanagement of public services such as failing to improve drainage, water access, bursary disbursement and ward development, to allegation of financial and administrative misconduct. The motion quickly gathered more than 70 signatures, surpassing the required threshold of 40. This rare display of bipartisan unity among both UDA and ODM ward representative underscored the gravity of the situation. From MCAs, the grievance went beyond politics. The fish has rotten from the head, Alai lamenting deteriorating garbage collection, compromised public health and crumbling infrastructures.
I think it's only fair that we demand that garbage are all collected, that all the Nairobi infrastructure is taken care of, is rectified, and is clearly, we bring back the blame where it's...
As the impeachment threat mounted, both President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga rushed to broker peace with Sakaja's political survival hanging in the balance. Raila convened a meeting on Tuesday, September 2nd at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation with Governor Sakaja and Nairobi ODM aligned MCAs. On the other hand, President Ruto engaged with UDA aligned MCAs, persuading them to collaborate with Sakaja and refrain from pushing forward with the impeachment. Following the State House meeting, the entire motion was put on hold, giving space for dialogue and reconciliation. Sakaja has 60 days window. The cooling period offers Sakaja an opportunity to rebuild trust, including holding consultation and addressing MCA's concerns.
The Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has borrowed time, a growing wave of dispute that almost took his job, and now he has 60 days to turn things around. Reporting for Kings TV, Nyambura Nguro.
We will take our first commercial break, but don't tune off. Remember, this is Kings TV.
Petans Technical College is a technical college that trains hands-on skills to ensure you become experts in technical courses such as cosmetology, interior and event decor, fashion and design industry. We ensure you have the latest digital skills in the IT industry. We produce competent journalists and media personnel ready for the job market. Travel the world through our certified assistant caregiver course. Visit us at Kiambu Petans Plaza and in all our branches. Call us today on 0707 490 390.
Welcome back to more news. Governors have called for the suspension of electronic government procurement system EGP until proper consultation and capacity building are undertaken.
In a statement issued, Council of Governor Chair Ahmed Abdullahi said the new procurement system includes by the National Treasury have been enforced, hastering and was already dispatching services delivery in counties. Take a look.
In a dramatic standoff between Kenya's devolved unit and the National Treasury, governors across the country are rejecting the rollout of the new electronic government procurement system known as the EGP, citing lack of consultation, legal concerns, and operational confusion. On September 1st, after an extraordinary Council of Governors meeting, they demanded the immediate withdrawal of directive until proper technical measures are in place.
Appeal to the national government, in particular the National Treasury, to get in touch with the control budget to allow money to be dispersed to the counties.
The e-procurement platform, launched in April 2025, was designed to digitalize all government tenders, improve transparency, and reduce corruption loopholes. The Treasury had directed all state agencies, including counties, to fully adopt the system beginning July 1st this year. But county governors insist the rollout is premature. According to Council of Governors, Ahmed Abdullahi, only 3 counties were involved, and many of technical charges discovered during the trial are still unresolved. The rollout has caused disruptions in critical sectors like health, where procurement delays could mean life or death consequences. Counties are demanding the Treasury withdraw its circular and allow time for training, legal alignment, and system refinement. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi remains firm, insists the system will not be revoked, and warns counties against reverting to manual procurement, which he says open doors to corruption and vested interests. President Ruto has echoed that stance, declaring there is no turning back on e-procurement. He has challenged officials resisting the change to step aside, framing the system as a cornerstone of his anti-corruption agenda.
For now, governors are holding their ground and Treasury are holding their line. The future of e-procurement hangs in the middle. Reporting for Kings, my name is Brenda Kenoti.
The government has announced that it will fully cover social health authority contribution for 1.5 million vulnerable citizens starting next week.
That's right, Brenda. It's a bold move aimed at lifting the financial budget from families who have long struggled to access basic health services. The announcement comes after the SHA rollout gains momentum across the country. Frida Kahiga with the news.
President William Ruto announced that the government will pay Social Health Authority SHA contribution for 1.5 million Kenyans who do not have the ability to pay beginning next week.
I am going to pay for 1.5 million as national government. Mimi nataka governors walipie another maybe 1 million. Hao wabunge, every MP hako na pesa anaweza kulipia wale watu maskini katika constituency yake.
The president also said he would soon meet governors and MPs so that they can pay for close to another 1 million Kenyans. He explained that SHA contributions are equitable at 2.75% of income, pointing out that this has enabled the government to get enough funds to contribute for those who have no ability to pay.
Kama ni mtu ya kulazwa, ile bill ambaye angelipa shilingi 20,000, 30,000, 100,000, 200,000. Akilipa tu contribution yake ya SHA, which is less than, in many cases, less than 5,000.
Unlike NHIF, which covered those who could afford. Speaking during a meeting with grassroots leaders from Turkana County at State House on 2nd September, President challenged them to accelerate SHA registration to guarantee affordable and quality health care for every household. President Ruto said SHA payments are sent to specific hospitals, not counties as before. SHA being a comprehensive health insurance program providing many benefits and easing the burden of medical bills among citizens who would otherwise not be able to pay for health care.
Saa hizi kuna hospitali tunawatumia pesa kwa kutreat wananchi wanashangaa because they have never seen.
The president also cautioned dispensaries, health centers and sub-county hospitals against charging patients for outpatient services, saying the government has set aside 21 billion Kenya shillings for this and it will pay through SHA.
Now the government has completed a successful identification process to ensure no one is left out of the Universal Health Coverage Plan. Reporting for Kings TV, Frida Kahiga.
Dr. Masai Mwangangi, CEO of Kenya Social Health Authority, has firmly addressed the controversy surrounding the alleged ghost hospital scandal involving Nyandiwa Level 4 Hospital in Homa Bay County.
She explained that the hospital has been operational since the 1970s and the confusion streamed from its bank account still being labeled Nyandiwa Dispensary. Moses Wanjiko reveals more.
Kenya's Social Health Authority SHA boss Dr. Masai Mwangangi has come out strongly to defend her office after claims that nearly 20 million was paid to a hospital that doesn't exist. Photos of abandoned building in Homa Bay County went viral, with many Kenyans calling it a ghost paradise and accusing the government of wasting public money. However, SHA Chief Executive Officer has firmly rejected these claims, calling them misleading and damaging to public trust. In a detailed statement, Dr. Mwangangi explained that the money was sent to Nyandiwa Level 4 Hospital, a legitimate and operational facility that had been evolved from the original dispensary established in the 1970s. She explained that the hospital retained its original bank account name despite being upgraded, saying that confusion may have started there. Photos circulated online showed a deserted building with a closed gate and livestock grazing nearby. Dr. Mwangangi dismissed the images as unrelated, stating that the structure shown was an incomplete facility built by previous county administration and had never contracted by SHA. She also clarified that another facility with a similar name in Kasipul had never received SHA funding, and adding to the public misunderstanding. SHA records show that Nyandiwa Level 4 Hospital received almost 20 million last month. Additional funds totaling over 82 million have also been allocated to the facility under the Social Health Insurance Fund, SHIF, and Primary Health Care PHC programs since October last year. Despite the viral photos, Dr. Mwangangi maintained that the hospital is fully functional and serving the community. As Kenya continues its push towards universal health coverage, the controversy highlights the challenges of transparency and public perception in health sector reforms. Dr. Mwangangi urged media outlets to uphold journalistic integrity and avoid dramatic warning that misinformation could undermine critical healthcare initiatives.
Now that is the pure truth about the ghost paradise. Talking about ghost paradise, we are talking about the ghost hospitals scandals. Reporting for Kings TV, my name is Moses Wanjiko.
Former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati has been released on a cash bail of 1.5 million Kenya shilling or a bond of 5 million Kenya shilling following corruption charges.
He was charged alongside several relatives and directors of construction companies in a case involving fraudulent procurement and acquisition of proceeds of crime totaling over shillings 271 million. The charges include the conflict of interest, abuse of office and money laundering allegedly committed between 2018 and 2021. Martha Ngugi has more.
Former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wafula Wangamati has been freed on shilling 1.5 million cash bail after pleading not guilty to glove-related charge at the Anti-Corruption Court. Milimani Anti-Corruption Trial Magistrate Zipporah Gishana on Tuesday delivered her ruling after hearing argument for both the defense and the prosecution.
First accused is the one I read as the fourth accused. The first accused terms of bond are as follows: a bond of 5 million, in the alternative a cash bail of 1.5 million.
Wangamati, who was the first accused in the case, was granted at 5 million shillings bond or an alternative cash bail of 1.5 million shillings. He faced charge of a conflict of the interest. The court was told that former governor was not alone in the dock. The charge sheet lists Wangamati as the first accused, followed by his brother Michael Simiyu and Edward Barasa, who are alleged directors of Nambwala Construction Limited.
These terms also apply to the accused number 6 and 7. Are we clear?
The brother who were listed as the second and third accused were each granted shilling 1 million bond or 400,000 cash bail. During submission, defense lawyer Peter Wanyama urged and noted that despite the 27 courts facing the group, no procurement or finance official have been charged. The prosecution through counsel Vincent Monda countered that the gravity of the charge could make some of the accused flight risk. He also urged the court to restrict public commentary on the case.
Former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati is out on a bail of 1.5 million as he faces charges. Reporting Kings TV, my name is Goge Martha.
We will take another commercial break. We will be right back.
Petans Technical College is a technical college that trains hands-on skills in courses such as hotel and catering, making you an expert in 4-star and 5-star hotels, automotive engineering, where we train with modern vehicles. We offer training in electrical installation and plumbing, as well as CCTV camera installation. Travel the world through our certified assistant caregiver course. Enroll with us today on our Facebook page or visit us at Kiambu, Petans Plaza, and in all our branches. Call us today on 0707-490-390.
A deepening crisis at Moi University, where lecturers have entered their third week of industrial action, has left learners polarized. Tension between staff and management continue to escalate.
The University Academic Union, UASU, is demanding the payment of over 9 billion Kenya shillings in salary arrears and statutory deduction. Despite students reporting back to campus, classes remain suspended. Take a look.
On Monday 1st, university's academic staff, UASU, officials for more universities have shifted blames to the institution, maintaining that they will not bow to any ill persuasions. Led by UASU officials, Duncan Makwana, the lecturer said that they will maintain the strike until the demands are met.
For academic issues, there is no teaching, whether online or physical. We are not going to do supervision and examination of students, postgraduate and undergraduate.
They said the strike will go on as agreement has been reached between them and the University Council, noticing that the staff have gone for 3 months now without medical cover. Among the issues they raising are non-remittal of pension funds and pending loans, noting the staff cannot access loans in any financial facilities due to unpaid loans.
We left out all the other issues which are bedeviling Moi University, and we just asked for the salaries of July and the salaries of August. So we gave a notice last week on Monday, the 19th.
More universities are recently been under management crisis, which has resulted loss of funds and strikes, leading to frustration among students and parents. The conflict began on 12 when the UASU Moi chapter issued a 7-day strike notice to the University Council. The lecturers outlined several issues, including unpaid salaries for June and July 2025, failure to honor the 2021 to 2025 collectives bargaining agreement, and neglect of the return to work formula signed in November 2024.
In this approach, the issues that we used to have in the past, where capitation would change and you don't know exactly what informs the same, would no longer be an issue. Because even for us as an institution now, by simply looking at the number of students, we can almost tell how much money we are going to get from the government.
They raised concern over stalled promotions, unresolved pension contribution, and lack of clear plans for statutory dedication and medical services. UASU warned that if these grievances were ignored and indefined, strike will begin. On August 20th, lecturers officially donned their tools, bringing teachers and administrative activities to a halt. The union accused the university of owing its staff more than 9 billion, covering unpaid salaries, arrears, pension schemes, and medical benefits.
Itoke kwa wakati sawa kwa kila mwanafunzi, maana sisi wote tuna mahitaji sawa kama wanafunzi. Itoke tu, siku wengine wanapata kidogo, wengine wasubiri, kwa sababu wengine wataenda mpaka Septemba mpaka Oktoba bado hajapokea. Sasa kwa mwaka huu tunaomba itoke tu kwa wakati sawa, kila mtu atatue matatizo yake hapa shuleni.
For this, over 5 million is tied pension, alone placing many employees at risk of financial insecurity during retirement. For lecturers, this was not just a matter of salaries, but broad struggle for dignity, job security, and respect for legal binding agreements.
The more university lecturers says that they're being threatened job cuts because of their strike. The UASU said that they will not be forced to stop their protest. Reporting from Kings TV, my name is Quilin Wanjiru.
Talent hit a target no one else can hit. Genius hit a target no one else can see. This quote reminds us of the incredible power of untapped potential. The government has retailed its commitment to nurturing the investment in youth talent across Kenya. Public Service Cabinet Secretary delivered this message at Mayo Stadium during a launch in Ebu. Ruth Kamau spotlights the issue.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has reaffirmed the government's commitment to empowering young Kenyans by nurturing their talents through the new initiative aimed at transforming lives from the grassroots level.
Tunataka kuomba national government through the Ministry of Sports. We have talent, we have young people ambaye wakiweza kutekelezwa vizuri wanaweza wakanacha talents, tukapata kina Mushiri, tukaweza kupata oga mwingine kutoka hapa Kinani.
Speaking during the official launch of Ishiara FC's 3-year strategic plan at Mayo Stadium in Mbeere North, Embu County, CS Ruku emphasized that youth talent development remains a priority under President William Ruto's administration. Ruku congratulated the team's achievement as a testament to discipline, teamwork, and resilience. He also highlighted several elements of the strategic plan that align with the national development objectives. The plan also encompasses youth talent development programs and community engagement efforts. He stated that through institutions such as National Youth Service, the government remains committed to supporting sports development, entrepreneurship, and youth skills training. He emphasized that such multi-agency partnerships are vital to creating a national ecosystem that provides structured pathways for young people to grow their abilities and access opportunities. He also outlined the government's plan to establish Talanta centers designed and promote talent across various disciplines. Reporting for Kings TV, my name is Ruth Kamau.
Leaders and residents are raising alarm over the alleged presence of foreign fighters reportedly from Somalia's Jubaland region inside Kenya's territory.
After years of relative calm, Mandera is once again in a spotlight. Schools have shut down, business dispersed, and families displaced amid fear of stray bullets and an exploded ordnance. Hortensia Bio with the details.
In what could perhaps be the sternest test yet Kenyan's territory integrity in recent times for than a month, foreign troops from Somali Jubaland states have pitched camps inside Mandera, occupying former land in border points, one village.
Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of all the armed forces, Mandera cannot be turned into a battleground for Somalia. We have no interest in Somalia. The only interest we have in Somalia is peace. If they cannot peace and fight, then we have no business to.
President William Ruto, author as the former defender of the country sovereignty in under sharp spotlights as State House remains silent to the incursion. They have seen the country being attacked by a troop from foreign countries. Jubaland forces entered Mandera. They have occupied more than half their land.
Risking Kenyan lives and property is shameful, reckless, and betrayal of our sovereignty. Foreign conflict must be fought on foreign soil, not on the streets of Mandera.
And now the foreign fighters have occupied the Mandera part and also thanking the government for warming relationship. Residents have to flee their belongings back. The Jubaland fighters have also claimed they have taken Mandera as State House. The security bosses remains mum. The Jubaland fighters confirmed as Ibrahim Adan Ali and Fred Kagonyi fought for the land. And now the freedom fighters and the government are now in good terms. Foreign fighters say they have taken over part of the Mandera's section. They also thank the government for the good relationship. They also claim that their relationship will still remain to be strong. Reporting Kings, Hortensia Mbiu.
We will take a business break. We will be right back. Before you borrow, remember your credit score is your reputation in numbers. The cost of money is never just interest, it's trust, history, and risk. Jim Gibby, our business reporter, prepared more on this.
As commercial banks prepare to shift to the new risk-based pricing model based on the Kenya shilling's overnight interbank, Kesonia, Kenyans with poor credit history could soon find it more costly to access credit from banks.
Clear that the framework needed to be changed. That regime of capping was not achieving its original purpose and therefore needed to be changed.
Yeah. The new risk-based credit pricing model is not designed to exclude anyone from the former financial system, but borrowers classified at high risk will face higher borrowing costs compared to those perceived to have a lower risk of default. This is according to the Central Bank of Kenya, and which has introduced its new model in order to guide how commercial banks and lenders set interest rates on loans.
Earlier, each bank had its own base rate, and because it had each bank had a different base rate, was really difficult for borrowers to determine which banks were offering a better rate. It was not therefore transparent.
This model began rolling out in September and will be fully applied by March 2026. New loans are expected to be priced using the new framework beginning on 1st December, while commercial banks are expected to be transitioned in the next 3 months. Unlike the previous risk-based credit pricing framework, which was in place from 2019 and required approval from the central bank, the new framework will only require approval from individual banks' board.
At the end of that whole process, we came up with a new framework which is founded on the interbank rate, which we are renaming Kesonia. So the whole framework uses that as the anchor, and then banks set a premium K on top of that Kesonia. Kesonia stands for the Kenya Overnight Interbank Average, and it's the same kind of naming that you find in the US and the UK.
This shift could result in higher loan interest rates, which may unfairly impact vulnerable groups like low-income earners with limited credit history. The central bank is placing its hope for lower lending rates on the transparency introduced by the new framework. By standardizing the base rate across all banks, the CBK expects the model to enhance competitiveness in the banking sector and enable Kenyans to benefit from lower interest rates.
Even if you are a very risky customer and you don't pay your loan on time, you are not going to be prevented from accessing the loan. The credit will be there, but the price will be high, and this will be reflected on how the bank will charge you. Reporting for Kings TV, my name is Jane Gethi.
Brenda, and there's no news can be news without sports. Sports are structured physical activities of game that involve skills, competition, and often teamwork. From solo pursuits like athletics, football, and volleyball sports. Sports serve as a universal language. Let's take a look at today's sports news.
Kenya's first rising striker Ryan Ogam has completed a move from Tusker FC to Australian Bundesliga side Wolfsburger SC, marking a major milestone in his blossoming career. The 20-year-old, born in Nairobi in December 2004, will link up with new teammates after the international break. Kenya has begun its bid to reclaim gold in the men's 10,000 meter at the upcoming World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Japan. The country last won the title 24 years ago at the 2001 championships in Edmonton, Canada. This year's edition is scheduled for September 13 to 21st. European club football returns after the international break, and Premier League teams have named their squad. 15-year-old Max Downman is in line to become the youngest player to appear in the Championships League after being selected in Arsenal's squad, but Federico Chiesa has been omitted from Liverpool's. Dominic Szoboszlai brilliant's late free kick gave Liverpool victory against Arsenal after a hard-fought meeting of the Premier League superpowers at Anfield. A draw encounter looked to be heading for a draw until the Hungarian carved a magnificent strike past Arsenal keeper David Raya from 30 yards in front of an exultant Kop after 83 minutes. Reporting for Sports News, Kings TV, my name is Pius Kariuki.
In seeking truth, we lead the path forward. The news ends, but the story continues. In your choices, your voice, and your tomorrow.
That marks the end of our news bulletin. You can send us your views on our social media platforms, that is Facebook at Kings TV, YouTube,
Kings Fraternity.
Let's keep the fire alive. Let's keep the flame alive by staying informed and staying engaged.
My name is Brenda Kenot.
And I, Cynthia Nyambura. Good night.